friends in Holland, the Netherlands, of strange lights that are being reported over the country. Lots of people are seeing them, and they're behaving intelligently, and they're moving in certain directions and specific clustering, as if they're using terms like, it's aliens returning to the mothership and all this kind of thing. Now, normally when I hear about UFO clusters, the last thing I think about is aliens. The first thing I usually think about is military technology, secret military technology. The second thing I think of is some kind of psychic phenomenon. And in this case, I'm very much nailing my colours to the psychic phenomena masked over what's happening with the strange lights in the sky in Holland. All through history, it's been shown, and Carl Jung documented this in his Flying Saucer books, that whenever there is turmoil in a society, or whenever there is a great sense of trepidation or fear of the future, instability, it often manifests by strange aerial phenomena, often lights in the sky. We saw this in Switzerland and in Central Europe as the Ottomans were approaching from the east. There was a great neuroses among Central Europeans of these Muslims coming in and taking over Europe. As a result, battles were seen in the sky, battles of strange lights and aerial phenomenon. And on the eve of Adolf Hitler's and the Third Reich's annexation of Austria and marching into that country in 1938, an enormous amount of lights were seen all over Europe that could be seen, in some cases as far as North America. An incredible display of lights was seen. And again, this was a projection of the psychic phenomenon that Jung was talking about, that phantoms are generated in the sky. Now, why Holland? Well, it's pretty obvious. Look what's happening in that country at the moment. This is not a political channel, but when there's a political aspect impacts upon the psychic or the consciousness sphere, it very much becomes a topic for this channel. What's happening in Holland is these lights are a projection of the instability taking part in that society. They're feeling as if on a primal level, and it's a good thing, by the way, that their nation is being taken away from them by the globalists. We have seen the recent attacks on Dutch farmers by the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset and their toe rags in the European Union and the Dutch government. This has shaken the Dutch people to the fundamental core of their being, and they're suddenly becoming the tribe again. The tribe, it's like poking. When you poke an ethnic archetype with a stick, what you do is you unleash the feral tribe. And that's what's happening in Holland. Now, the Dutch are an ancient tribe called the Frisians. They're a very proud, and quite rightly to be so, proud people, because they have literally carved their country out of the North Sea using dikes and various forms of canals. That's what all the windmills in Holland are for. They're pumping out the sea. They've literally built a country from the ground up. Most of Holland, or at least half it, has literally been taken out of the North Sea through land reclamation. It's one of the most incredible stories in history, that instead of expanding to the east, they saw the sea, and they expanded into the sea, built dikes, drained the North Sea where it was, and as a result produced incredibly fertile land and became the most productive farms in Europe. Nearly all the vegetables we eat in Ireland today are produced in Holland. The Dutch are tremendous farmers. They have an incredible sense of agricultural intelligence and industry that goes back centuries, if not millennia. These are a very proud people. If you go to Holland on what they call Queen's or King's Day, everyone dresses up in orange, and the whole country they dye rivers orange. Everything. You think St. Patrick's Day is mad? It goes even more intense than that. Now, Esther contacted me about this, and you saw Esther's recent song, Just Wait, that she did for this channel. It did not surprise me one bit that Esther went to visit the ancient megaliths in Holland and took photographs of herself soon after, because the tribal folk spirit of her Frisian identity, of her ancient Dutch and Netherlandese identity was calling to her. The ancestors in the tribe were literally calling. And this is what is defeating the globalists. This is why the globalists hate the fact that we have ethnic backgrounds and ancient histories, and we come from various tribes and Indo-European groupings across Europe. It makes them sick to their stomach. And the Dutch have discovered the folk spirit of their people, and they look across their country and they see a land that has been magnificently carved from the ocean, turned into productive for farmland by the labours of generations of hardworking and intelligent Dutch people. And as a result, what they're seeing when they see the farmers being attacked by the World Economic Forum, the Dutch government, and the EU, what they're seeing is the very folk spirit of their people, the soil of the ancients that came all through that land from earliest Neolithic, Mesolithic times to today, to dug that country out of the sea through generations of labour, have become aware that all that is now being stolen by the likes of Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum so they can feed the people of the future with crickets and other things. And the Dutch farmers are quite rightly, see, unlike the Irish, the Dutch are not cowards. The Irish are a natural race of cowards, and they've shown that over and over again in the last 3 years. The Dutch have actually stood up for what they believe in, and they're going to war. And this is why it's basically blacked out in all the media, especially here in Ireland, because they don't want Irish farmers to know that they're next. Not that Irish farmers would do anything about it, because they're all cowards anyway. They'll drive a tractor up to Dublin and go, playing Big Tom and the Mainliners songs, or that kind of thing. We don't actually do anything really meaningful. The Dutch will actually fight back because their ancestors dug that country out of the sea, and they have a greater stake in the reclamation and the generation of their homeland than, say, Irish farmers do, who just sit around and collect CAP funds. And the Dutch are... What happened with the World Economic Forum declaring war upon Dutch farmers? What has happened in Holland is a psychic mirror has been held up to their soul. And as a result, it has created a deep sense of endangerment among the tribe. And this neuroses, while not overtly spoken about, begins to project itself as lights in the sky. This is literally a form of catalytic exteriorization phenomena, where the catalytic experience is lights in the sky. The Dutch, quite rightly, are a proud people, and they're not just a moronic, a robotic, hard-working, industrious people. All you have to do is go to the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, or the Van Gogh Museum, and see the artistic beauty that country has produced in everything from paintings to ceramics. And you realise that the Dutch have a deep Frisian soul within them. These are an ancient, Anglo-Saxon, and prior to that, Anglo-Germanic people, and prior to that, they would have been Celtic or Germanic people, possibly also, mostly probably Celtic. But this tribal folk spirit is rising and projecting itself as, colours in the sky. These are people that Holland has a bigger influence on the world than people realise. I mean, they basically invented the United States and created America. Holland was the last country to successfully conquer England. The English always go on about, we haven't been conquered since 1066 by the Normans. No, you were conquered in 1690 by the Dutch. The Dutch launched an invasion of England and Ireland, and of course in Ireland's left a tremendous legacy through 1690 and the Battle of the Boyne, the Orangemen and all that. But like they landed it in England with 80,000 troops and conquered Britain. Well, they didn't conquer Scotland, but they had no interest in it for political reasons. They conquered England, and they conquered Ireland. And this is why you have, running alongside the government buildings, the nearest, the big street is called Nassau Street in Dublin, the Dukes of Nassau, the powerful royal families of Holland. This is why Dublin, until the Georgian era, was covered in what they call Dutch Billy type architecture. That Dublin looked like Amsterdam or Rotterdam. In fact, there's lots of Dutch type art buildings, because they call them Dutch Billies, left in Dublin to this day, that survived the Georgian reconstruction period, the 1790s. So that Holland's influence on the world is enormous for a small nation, enormous. And it's a combination of industry and, I mean, look, they nearly won the World Cup twice. They produce some of the best footballers in the world. So they have they're a people with a justifiable reason to feel proud of their country and proud of their homeland, because they literally did what very other few countries have done. They created much of their country from nothing. They dug it out of the sea. And Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum and the EU is directly attacking something very deep and primal within the Dutch people. And this is the lights in the sky are is the representation of the psychic turmoil, deep inside the Dutch soul right now, that's manifesting as this psychic aerial phenomenon. So, watch this, watch Holland. We had a video on my regular main channel about auguries. Boy, are we getting them now, and keep an eye on that. And good luck to the people of Holland. Excuse me.